Okay, hi, good afternoon. We are at the British Film Institute and I am so happy to be having an interview with Menelik Shabazz. And Menelik Shabazz is a director and he also is responsible for the film Burning Illusion and also the story of Lovers Rock. So we're going to talk about his new film, Looking for Love. Welcome, Menelik Shabazz.
Hey, I'm a film director. I've been for the last 35 years here in the UK, and I have spent my time making films which are really concerned about the black experience, whether it's documentaries or as movies, and I've worked in television as well. So I have been around.
Okay. Okay. So why this film, Looking for Love? Why did you go into relationships?
Yes. I had wanted to do a film about relationships before my last film, The Story of Lovers Rock. But I couldn't find a way to do it properly. Or I didn't have the spark that I needed. And so it's recently I noticed that there is a lot of single people, especially young people, than I remember ever in my time. And especially the men, I'm talking to a lot of young men, I'm like, wow, how can these young men, they don't have nobody? What's going on? They're single. Like,
yes.
I'm like, what's going on? So it prompted me to want to investigate this more, and then I start the journey. It also combines my personal journey of healing. And so I was now in a place where I could now combine the issues or what I was seeing with a wider perspective, which was important. To go into this subject, you need to have a kind of wide perspective. Otherwise, you're going to get going down, certain areas because it's such a broad subject. So where do you go? How do you tackle it? So that was the spark, knowing or realizing that there were so many single people of all ages, and it's just like the future.
Yes.
The 21st century relationship is no relationship, it's just me and my mobile and my apps, and because that was the other thing, was that there's so much forms of communications that we have now. We have the internet, we have Facebook, we have the WhatsApp, and all these forms, text, and all of these forms, but yet there are more lonely people in the world than there are in the UK, more lonely people than they are, than they should be, given all these forms of communication. So something is wrong.
Yeah.
And so I really wanted to go into that.
And I'm glad you did. Okay. Looking for Love, I heard the title and I was like, who is looking for love? Okay. Who is possibly looking for love in 21st century? Because I don't know many people who associate relationships, dating with love anymore. Okay. It's more about sex. Okay. So who's looking for love? Why did you come up with that title? Because I'm sure people are like, love, really?
Yes. It was a title that I had in my head initially as a working title. And I tried to come up with other titles, but that one just keeps sticking. It's not going away. Can't find another one that is. And the title, to me, speaks more to the internal. But because I know most people are in the place of the external, in the way that they think. So it's a title that would attract people, but it's a double side to it. You know what I mean? There's the inner and the outer love. And the inner love is really what I'm interested in. In doing this film, what I really wanted to get to wasn't so much the outer, people looking for relationships, not having, people being single and all of that. It's kind of more looking at our people, African people, African, meaning all of us with nappy heads.
Okay.
Right. We are experiencing a certain heaviness of heart, which does not allow us to engage completely in relationships. And so for me, looking for love is really going into yourself and finding the love within yourself. That is a fundamental. And we as a people, we have difficulty with loving self. And that is manifested in the world that we live in and the world that we manifest. Because it's the inner that manifests the outer. And so so looking for love really is a title that speaks to those who are outer.
Okay.
Those who see the exterior.
Mm-hmm.
And it also speaks to those who are interior. But it may not initially speak to people who are interior because they may think, oh, it's so on. But when you engage with the film, you will see that it's very much about the interior world. But I want to bring in people who don't know rather than people who already know some of this stuff. And the majority of people are not in that place. They're in the exterior world. And so I need to bring them in. So it's like me drawing out my net, casting out my net to catch the fishes, you know, and giving a little sweetener.
So
bring them in.
I'm wondering how you bring them in, right? Because when we're talking about community, black community, Africans, we have a history, right? A history, and our history, I'd say, you know, slavery, colonialism has kind of really dogged us as a people. It really has been difficult for us to move away from some of the pain, you know, that was part of that process. And that process kind of dehumanized us in the first place. It separated us. Now, so I don't know that we've ever done any healing. So I know people talk about let's heal individually in relationships, but how do you heal when fundamentally, you know, the foundation is unhealed? We're unhealed as a race of people.
That's right.
Where'd you start from to kind of bring us back to a place where we can have positive relationships?
Right, you're absolutely right. And that's one of the areas that's covered in the film, the healing element. And how do we heal? How do we get past these negative programs that we have? And it begins individually with the individual getting to a point of forgiveness. Once you recognize, first of all, that you have the pain that is there, that you know we all as African people, and I include people from the continent, because they have been traumatized just from the point of when we were taken.
Right.
Because the villages and the places that were taken were traumatized. Because when you're in a village and your young ones are being taken, right, and the strong people are being taken out of your community, the people who are left behind are traumatized.
Okay.
They have not been through the plantation situation in terms of what we have been, but we're equally traumatized. Those of us who've been through the enslavement have been traumatized sexually. We've been traumatized emotionally, and physically. And so to unravel all of that, we have to first recognize that we have it. We have that problem. It's like you're going to a doctor. He said, "Doctor, right, I've got a problem in my heart." And the doctor can say, "Right, at least you recognize you've got a problem in your heart." But if you don't recognize it, you're just going to continue to have it. The same with our, you know, the sicknesses that we have are passed down from generation. If you don't realize it, like my family, diabetes is passed down. And if I don't recognize it, then it's going to continue. But if I recognize it, then at least I can change it for myself and my children. So we have to first recognize that we have a problem.
Yeah.
Because most of us are running away from ourselves as far as possible.
Yes.
Running away from Africa, just recognizing that in Africa, that just fundamental being of who you are, we're running away from that.
Right.
So we have to look at, first of all, recognize the problem. And then secondly is then seek answers, how you can deal with this problem. And the problem begins to unravel for most people in terms of childhood. The childhood experiences that we have are a starting point where we begin to unravel what is affecting us immediately. And then once you understand your family patterns and the behaviors and the things that have happened to, you know, because we all come from dysfunctional situation, whatever color we are, and until we recognize and forgive those people who are our family, our parents, and so on, until we forgive them. And we have someone in the film, Jackie Holder, who talks about her situation in terms of forgiving, having to come to that point of forgiveness to clear, because the forgiveness allows you to clear and to take stuff away off your heart, because it's the heart is a universe unto itself. And in this culture that we live in, we don't get any education about the heart. The heart that is the powerhouse of who we are. It's with us, and what's in your heart goes all the way through your life. And so we haven't been able to understand how to navigate and understand this universe. It's a vast universe. And so the ancient Kemetians or Egyptians had a symbol of your heart being light as a feather. And the reason they had that, because they understood that for you to get to your highest spiritual being, your heart has to be light. And the people that you see when they're very old and you see them laughing and joking and all of that, their heart is light. They're not carrying no burdens. And so we carry a lot of burdens.
Right.
And so we need to shed it. And unless we shed it, we can't engage with who we are and also meet the people that we need to meet.
So my concern may be that, you know, sounds wonderful. I'm just wondering how you're going to break it down for those people who do not have the level of consciousness to maybe, you know, absorb that and start to practice something different, because I presume there's a serious outcome. You do want to see a change in relationships.
Yeah.
So it's like, how are you going to take them simply down quite a strategic road to an outcome that they can realize for themselves?
Okay. In the film we talk about this, and it's the outcome is really, again, it starts with forgiving yourself and forgiving others.
So very simple.
Yes. I mean, we talk in the film, people talk about writing letters to the people that, you know, you don't have to send it to them, but you just have to get it out. And so it's really getting out all the stuff that we carry, the deep subconscious stuff, and beginning to understand. And how we understand what we're carrying is the people we attract in our world. That tells us what's going on in our inner being. You know, the kind of guys that we attract, do you know what I mean, come from our subconscious place. It doesn't come from our conscious mind. You may consciously say, I want this kind of guy, but in your subconscious mind, you're saying, I don't trust anyone.
Right. Oh yeah.
Which is a big issue. Which is a big issue that we have, is trust issues.
Yes.
And so so even though people may think consciously they are doing the right thing, their subconscious mind is saying another. And it's in that subconscious place that the work needs to happen.
Okay. So, great outcomes. Are we going to see more marriages, we hope, in the future? Because we know marriage is on the decline. The black family, I can tell the last time I ate some cake, right?
Yeah.
Nobody gets married anymore. I don't know why that is. I guess that's part of the same thing. But do we need to see more, you know, support for the family long term and community with more marriages, or is that not now completely outdated, and is it addressed in the film anywhere?
It isn't. The marriage element isn't addressed. I mean, we did interviews with Dr. Umar Johnson in the US. He's featured in the film.
Oh, yeah.
And he had talked about, he said in the interview that we did, was that once you increase the economics of the black male, you'll increase marriages. They go hand in hand, because the black man is not going to get married if he hasn't got the financial resources. Right. And one of the problems that we have in our community is the fact that there is a big difference between in the economics between the black man and the black woman. And that is a major problem. And so if a man doesn't have the financial resources, why is he going to get married?
Yeah.
And so it's the economics part of it. And so we're in a situation where the women have a higher economic value than the men. And so so in order to move beyond that, women have to also recognize that this is a pattern that's been going on from slavery. The women have been given more status than the man. And that's still continuing. So if you
But
don't
we
understand
do-
that,
But we do have affluent black men who marry outside the race, right? So we have a lot of people who make it to a high degree, and who choose to date outside their race.
yes.
So
I mean,
what are we saying about that?
that is still a consequence of the situation. I mean, there are black men who have money and so on, but they're few compared to the women. I'm saying if you kind of look at, most black women in the UK, for example, a lot of them are more black women who are professional than they are men.
Yes.
So in that kind of dynamic, but you do have men in sports and so on who excel and make money, and yes, they go off because they have an inferiority complex, and they're in a position to make a choice. And the choice comes from their sense of well-being. So again, what's going on inside of you is going to reflect in the outer world, and we have a deep sense of lack of self-esteem. Is a key element.
So is that the same thing when you hear now? We hear very often black men saying, "I will not date a woman that is educated. She has a degree. I don't care." Is that where the same kind of thinking is coming from? Because there's a lot of conversation about that now.
There is a truth in that, because for men, they're looking at relationships and they want a relationship that is going to be easy in terms of flowing and stuff. They don't want a relationship where they feel they have to work, they have to, have to rise up and meet a partner, because then it's a different type of challenge, and most men are not really need to do that because there are a lot of women around. So they've never had to really go outside of their comfort zone. And so if a woman is educated, then that presents to him a situation where he's going to go outside of his comfort zone. So that becomes a challenge. And so that's an issue that has come up. And but it's still all connected to our lack of healing. That deep-rooted situation that we have still yet to come to terms with. And so until we really come to terms with that issue, things will continue in all the different manifestations that we find ourselves in this, And so for me, the film is really about healing, because I recognize from my own personal journey of healing that it's also incumbent on all of us. It's part of what we have to do to move forward out of this situation. It's no longer the band-aid where you just bandage a problem and just put it, we can sort it out quickly and not do the work.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? This journey is about doing that work. Most people don't want to do that.
Absolutely.
It's easier to have more drink, more alcohol, more drugs, more sex, more whatever, just to down that situation.
Absolutely.
And so that's really the way that we have to look at. And for me, I also want to inform the younger generation.
Yeah, I was coming on to the younger generation. Because I think our younger generation haven't had the examples. They, the role models, even our generation didn't have those role models. So now we're moving to the next generation. If you bring them together and you ask a question about relationships, they just don't know where they're going. I mean, if they're in church, maybe they choose to get married. But even then, it's out of a choice to do with Christianity and not having sex before marriage and all the rest of it. But foundation-wise, where is that real core understanding of building family, building a future, leaving a legacy? Young people,
that's right,
do not have that.
Yeah, young people are the outcome of us.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's what we have put into them is what we're getting back.
Yeah.
So if they're getting back a situation where they don't know where they are, what's going on, it's because we haven't, and successive generations haven't, and so on. So that is the situation. So in that situation, we repeat the same patterns of the past. And so once they find love within themselves, then they will make different choices. And so to me, it's getting to that place where they recognize that once you find love within yourself, real, and you understand what that is, it's not a word. I mean, it's a word in terms of, but it's used and used and used, but people don't actually understand what it is. Once we are able to connect with the part of us that needs healing. The child that's described in the film, the little child that's within us, that we kind of put in the cupboard, that we just shut away. Once we can engage with that child and our inner self, then we become better people. We also attract the laws of the universe to bring to us that, because the love you put in comes back out. And it's understanding that this is a real choice and a real way that affects your life. And so once we begin to have this awareness, and the younger people have this awareness, then they will be better informed, have more tools to work with in this area, and make the choices of coming together, getting married, and all these things, but from a basis that is rooted in the heart and understanding the heart. But the heart is not just, it's a place of cause and effect. What you put out, you get back.
Wonderful. So we're here in the British Film Institute, and this is where your film premiered already, and it was so successful. I just wondered, what are your plans for getting it out to the wider community, getting more people engaged in the debate about the film? Because clearly there are lots of people who need to hear this story that you're telling in your film.
The plans are that we're going to be on general release or released in the cinemas in August, which is 2 months away. So I have a film distributor working with me, and so we're looking to go into nationally in the UK, and then after that we'll be looking at the US. I already have links or have a distribution and things like that going on there. And so for me, I want to create a movement. This is not just a film, this is a movement. I want to activate people to change,
yes,
and to move forward, and to create events off the film to extend the movement of love. Looking for love. Love. So raising our hearts.
Now.
So we've got to raise our hearts.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
to raise our hearts, we have to take off the load that's in it, that we're carrying, and understand that's what's going on. And then you can start looking at other people. Because once you shed your heart, you'll attract people in your life, and you'll be able to see them. Because that's the thing, is that I know as a man, we're kind of very visual. And we're looking at what a woman looks like. We're not really looking in their hearts and looking at that. And I had to learn that in my later life, that I'm looking at a person through their heart. What is that person's heart? I feel this woman's got a good heart or not. I'm not, because I know I can get past what they look like. Because every choice I've made based on that has been wrong. And we all do it. And, we're making choices because the person looks a certain way.
And we're very visual.
And we're very, yes.
Society is visual.
Yeah. And so, and once you're going that way, it's a wrong choice. Automatically, you're making a wrong choice.
Absolutely.
And once you have love in your heart, you'll also attract people who you can communicate who have a similar, because you will know that. You will change the way that you look. You will change the way that you feel. You will change your world. And you will then be in alignment with the laws of attraction, which is what you put out, you get back. And a lot of people will say, well, I put out love and I'll be mash up and,
yes,
and mash up and mash up,
yes,
and mash up. But then the question is that...
How did you attract that?
That's right. Who are you attracting? Who are you giving your love to?
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? If you give your love to a demon, we expect. Do you know what I mean? Oh, I gave a demon my love. Oh yeah, okay. What did you get back?
Yes.
So I think we have to take responsibility.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing. Taking
Yes,
responsibility
absolutely.
for yourself, your heart, and projecting that out, and then see what comes. And don't be afraid.
Yes. So what is the future now for you? Are you planning to do a part 2 to this film, or is this film just on its own as a project, or what's the plan for the
this
future?
film is pretty much self-contained. It's part of a trilogy. I'll do another film that kind of completes my love trilogy. So that's really what I'll be looking to do after that, to do the final chapter, and then I'll do the final film in the trilogy, and then I'll go off to do something else.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Okay. Good.
I learned so much.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to see the film.
I feel like, yeah, I'm going to see the film. And you're going to do another workshop on the film, or another premiere you've got coming up in London.
The Bernie Grant Centre. We're doing I'll be doing, the film will be opening the festival.
Yeah.
It's part of the BFM International Film Festival. So I will be presenting the film there. It's also my own festival, BFM International Film Festival.
Okay.
We're showing 45 films over that weekend from Caribbean, from Africa, from America, and so on. So there will be a lot of films that are going to be presented over that weekend. And there are films that do have about relationships also that we are showcasing.
I can't wait.
Yeah, so it's not just my own film. There are other films that is happening also.
And that's August.
This is the 2nd to the 5th of July.
Oh,
so July. It's only about 3 weeks away.
3 weeks. Yeah. Okay, so it just remains for me to thank you so much.
Thank you
for the interview today, or the conversation today.
Yes.
I don't feel like we were really being interviewed. I feel like we had a conversation. But thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. And I just want to say to people, look out for Menelik Shabazz. Go and look for you on YouTube. You're on YouTube.
Yes, or they can go to our Facebook page, Looking for Love, the film.
Okay.
It's there. If they want to find out about the film festival or come to the screening there, it's they can go on our website, which is all the W's, bfmmedia.com.
bfmmedia.com.
That's right.
We look forward to that.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.